So we arrive at Washington's decision number 5, creating a national bank. And you've probably noticed from the timing that a lot of these key decisions were in the earliest years of his presidency. Not an accident. He knew he was setting precedents with everything that he did. So, national bank. Who cares? Realistically, why does this national bank matter so much? Now, keep in mind that Hamilton issued 4 economic reports to Congress. One of these reports talked about paying back the bonds and assumption. His second one dealt with his perceived need for a national bank. Now, the bank was going to be 20% publicly owned and 80% privately owned. And the majority of that 80% private ownership would be concentrated in the North. Now, this means that this bank is essentially going to be a private bank with congressional oversight. Now, Hamilton models his bank after the Bank of England, and he even kept a copy of the charter of that bank on his desk as he was writing his proposal. Now, his goals are to use the bank to provide credit to the nation, since it would hold all of the nation's gold and silver, use it to print currency that was backed by said gold and silver, and give economic confidence to the nation, as realistically we are seeking to catch up with Great Britain economically. Now, banking itself is a topic that makes a lot of Americans suspicious, but especially farmers and southern planters, so people who deal in agriculture, which is a lot of Americans, in fact, the majority of Americans at this time. They are often forced to deal with bankers when they need loans, and the idea of interest rates and the terms of loans, meaning the length of time you get to pay it back, that these are not widely understood. I mean, today you can go online and find pretty much whatever you want about any loan. If I take out a loan for this much money for this many years at this interest rate, what's the payment? I mean, that's pretty straightforward, but it was just very vague at this time. Now, before the war, southern planters often sold their crops abroad using English bankers as middlemen. This seems like we're doing the exact same thing, with the exception that it will be our own nation that acts as the middleman, not somebody across the Atlantic. Now, the bill did pass the Senate on a voice vote pretty easily, and it passed the House by a vote of 39 to 20. So now it goes to President Washington for his signature to become law. Now, Washington can either sign it or he can veto it. Veto meaning I forbid. It's a Latin phrase. I forbid. I will not allow it to happen. Washington had actually planned to veto the bill based on the recommendation of Madison, and Madison really doesn't like the fact that most of the ownership is going to be in the North, and it seems like the national government is going to favor bankers over farmers. Now, Madison also claims that a national bank is not expressly written into the Constitution. So it should be an item that Congress does not deal with. That's where unconstitutional comes into play. Now, Washington gives Hamilton a chance to offer a counterargument. He's the Treasury Secretary. It was his idea. And he was persuaded by Hamilton's argument that what's called the Necessary and Proper Clause of Article 1, Section 8, Paragraph 18 of the Constitution gave the federal government implied powers. Implied powers. And this is going to subsequently mean that even though it doesn't say Congress can establish a bank, there are things Congress can do that a bank could help with. Now, after this argument, Washington has 10 days to sign or veto, and he signed it just short of the deadline, and it left absolutely no time for debate in Congress. So the bank will be chartered for 20 years, meaning in 20 years, we'll reevaluate, see if we want to keep it or not. Now, there's been a lot of speculation, historically speaking, about the Southern, what you see on screen, unspoken fears. The fear is that if there was no bank written into the Constitution, yet Congress snapped their fingers, passed a law about a bank, what's to say the same couldn't necessarily be done about slavery? So it wasn't really something that was publicly stated, but it was believed that this was also at the root of a lot of the debate that went on.